Before you spend a single dollar on that car you've been eyeing, watch this. Because what I'm about to show you has quietly destroyed more financial futures than student loans, credit card debt, and bad investments combined. I know that sounds dramatic, but stick with me for just 60 seconds and you'll understand exactly why I said that. Picture this. You just landed a solid job. Maybe you're fresh out of college, or you finally got that promotion you've been grinding for. Your bank account is looking better than it ever has. And then you see it. The car. Sleek. Clean. That new car smell practically coming through the screen. And your brain starts doing the math. I can afford the monthly payment. I deserve this. I've earned it. So you sign the papers. You drive it off the lot. You feel like a completely different person. And for about 3 weeks, life is perfect. But here's where it gets worse. 12 months later, that car isn't a reward anymore. It's a chain. The payment hits every single month like clockwork. Insurance went up, way up. There was that one repair that shouldn't have happened on a new car. Gas is eating into your grocery budget. And the promotion you got? That money is already spoken for before it even lands in your account. You're not building wealth. You're funding a lifestyle that's slowly hollowing out your financial future. And the worst part? Most people around you are doing the exact same thing. So it feels normal. But it's not normal. It's a trap. And it's specifically designed that way. Here's the twist that most personal finance gurus won't tell you outright. The car industry doesn't actually want you to think about total cost. They want you thinking about one number and one number only, the monthly payment. Because if you focus on the monthly payment, you'll convince yourself you can afford almost anything. And that is exactly how a $45,000 car becomes a $67,000 mistake. So today, I'm going to break down exactly what a car actually costs at every salary level, from $40,000 a year to $150,000 a year. And by the end of this video, you're going to know the exact car budget for your income. The hidden costs most buyers never calculate, and the single most powerful rule for buying a car without wrecking your finances. Let's get into it. Let's start with the rule that should be tattooed on every car dealership door. It's called the April 20th 10 rule. And if you've never heard of it, pay close attention because this alone is worth the entire video. Here's how it works. When you buy a car, you should put down at least 20% as a down payment. You should finance it for no more than 4 years. And your total monthly car expenses, that's payment, insurance, gas, and maintenance, should never exceed 10% of your gross monthly income. That's it. That's the rule. Simple, right? Except almost nobody follows it. The average American finances a car for 72 months. That's 6 years. And the average monthly car payment in the US right now is over $700. So for someone earning $55,000 a year, that's roughly $4,600 a month before taxes. A $700 car payment alone is already 15% of their gross income. Before insurance, before gas, before that first oil change. And most people don't realize this, but the moment you go over that 10% threshold, you've entered a financial danger zone. You're not just buying a car. You're buying stress, limitation, and lost opportunity every single month for years. Now let's talk real numbers, because this is where most videos leave you hanging with vague advice. I'm going to give you specific salary breakdowns so you can see exactly where you stand. If you're earning $40,000 a year, your gross monthly income is about $3,333. Following the 10% rule, your total car expenses, payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, should cap at $333 per month. That means the car itself should cost somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000. Yes, that might sting to hear, but a reliable used car in that range exists. Your financial health is more important than your car's brand name. Now here's something that might surprise you. A lot of people at $40,000 try to justify a $25,000 car because the payment seems manageable. But stretch that out over 6 years at today's interest rates, and you're not paying $25,000. You're paying closer to $31,000 or $32,000 when interest is added. And that's before you factor in what that money could have done if you'd invested even half of it. This is where most people don't do the math, and the dealers are counting on that. Let's move up the ladder. Say you're earning $60,000 a year. That's $5,000 a month gross. Your car budget, total expenses, caps at $500 per month. That puts you in a range of a car priced between $18,000 and $25,000. This is actually a great range. There are incredibly reliable, well-equipped vehicles, both new and certified pre-owned, that fall right here. You're not in poverty territory. You're in smart territory. But here's where it gets interesting and, frankly, a little uncomfortable. Most people at this income level are shopping in the $35,000 to $45,000 range. Why? Because that's what their coworkers are driving. That's what shows up on Instagram. That's what the dealer confidently shows them when they walk through the door. And the monthly payment on a $40,000 car stretched over 72 months looks fine on paper. Until you realize you've just committed to 6 years of financial constraints for something that loses 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. At $80,000 a year, about $6,667 a month gross, your car budget tops out around $667 per month in total expenses. You're looking at cars in the $25,000 to $35,000 range. Here's the key insight at this income level. You can genuinely afford a very good car. Not a luxury car. A very good car. There's a difference. A well-equipped Honda, Toyota, Mazda, or Hyundai at this price point will serve you better than a base model BMW or Audi, because the BMW's maintenance costs, insurance rates, and depreciation curve will quietly eat you alive even on an $80,000 salary. And here's something most people don't realize. Luxury cars have a dirty secret. The upkeep on a $50,000 European luxury vehicle can run $1,500 to $3,000 a year in maintenance alone, even when nothing goes majorly wrong. Oil changes, brake jobs, software updates, specialty parts, it all adds up. So the car that looks affordable because the payment fits is actually draining you through the back door. Now let's talk about the $100,000 to $150,000 salary range. Because even here, even when you're earning well, the car trap is very much alive. At $100,000, you're taking home roughly $6,500 to $7,000 a month after taxes, depending on your state. Your total car budget? Around $800 to $1,000 per month. That opens up the $35,000 to $50,000 range legitimately. You can now look at higher-end vehicles without it being irresponsible. As long as you're not stretching the loan, as long as insurance is factored in, and as long as this car isn't crowding out your retirement contributions, emergency fund, or investments. And that's the biggest mistake coming up, because this is the trap that catches high earners specifically. They make more money, so they feel justified spending more on a car. And often they do it instead of investing that difference. If you're at $120,000 and you buy a $75,000 car, when a $45,000 car would have been perfectly fine, that $30,000 gap, invested wisely over 10 years, could be worth $65,000 to $80,000. You didn't just buy a nicer car. You bought a nicer car and gave up a significant piece of your financial future. That's the real cost, not the sticker price, the opportunity cost. Now let's talk about the hidden costs that almost nobody fully accounts for when buying a car. Because even if you follow the April 20th 10 rule perfectly, these are the numbers that will quietly blow up your budget if you ignore them. First, depreciation. A new car loses roughly 15 to 25% of its value in the first year alone. By year 5, it's often worth about 40% of what you paid. You're not just buying a car. You're buying an asset that is actively losing value while you sleep. This doesn't mean never buy new, but it means you need to account for this when you calculate the true cost. Second, insurance. And this is where people consistently underestimate. A new or expensive car will cost significantly more to insure. I've seen people budget $150 a month for insurance on a $42,000 car and get quoted $280. That's an extra $130 a month they weren't expecting, $1,560 a year in surprises. Third, financing costs. At today's interest rates, financing a $35,000 car over 6 years means you could easily pay $6,000 to $9,000 in interest on top of the purchase price. That's a vacation. That's a significant chunk of an emergency fund. That's real money disappearing silently every month. And fourth, the lifestyle inflation trap. The moment you have a nice car, your spending habits shift. You start eating at slightly nicer places because you feel like a person who has nice things. You upgrade your wardrobe a little. Your apartment feels like it doesn't match the car anymore. This sounds abstract until you look at your bank statement 6 months later and realize your savings rate dropped from 15% to 4%, and you can't quite figure out why. So here's the big realization I want you to walk away with. The car you drive is not just a financial decision. It's an identity decision. And the car industry knows this better than almost any other industry on earth. They don't sell you horsepower and cup holders. They sell you a version of yourself. Successful, respected, arrived. And that's why the math always feels secondary when you're standing in that showroom. Because you're not thinking about interest rates. You're thinking about how you'll feel driving to work on Monday morning. But here's the mindset shift that changes everything. The financially free version of you doesn't look rich. They are rich, quietly, steadily, without the performance. The person driving the used Camry might have $80,000 in their investment account. The person in the leased Benz might have $400 in savings and 2 years left on a lease they already regret. What you drive signals nothing about what you own. The most powerful thing you can do for your financial future right now is decide that your car is a tool, not a trophy. Keep it reliable, keep it affordable, and put the difference to work. Here's your action plan before you leave this video. Calculate your gross monthly income right now. Multiply it by 10%. That is your total monthly car budget, payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, everything. If the car you're considering puts you over that number, it's too much car. Not because I'm telling you to live small, but because the version of you 10 years from now, with real wealth, real options, real freedom, will thank you for making the boring, brilliant decision today. And if you're already in a car that's too expensive, don't panic. You have options: refinancing, selling and downsizing, or simply committing to not making the same mistake on the next purchase. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. And now you have it. If this video made you think differently about money and cars, do me a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this. And if you want more honest, no-fluff financial breakdowns like this one, subscribe. We put out new videos every week designed to help you build real wealth, not just look like you have it. And hey, speaking of looking like you have it, in the next video, I'm going to break down something even more eye-opening. Why your take-home salary and your real spending power are two completely different numbers, and what that gap is quietly doing to your retirement. That one will genuinely surprise you. I'll see you there.